Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me here in the studio. I'm gonna talk to you guys about SHTF Comms and where to start. And it's not an easy subject to talk about. What I mean is there's so much information to share with people, and there's so many scenarios that could be out there. One person's crisis might be different than the next person, or there's multiple different scenarios of within a certain situation. So yeah, it's impossible to answer that question comprehensively for everybody, but I'm going to come at it with the perspective of trying to reestablish general communications in a situation where cell phones are down and you need to reestablish communications with the family, your group or whatever. So if you're an individual, it's still important because you need to have people to come help you. Sometimes there might be, or somebody might need your help or whatever. You still need to have to be able to be communicated with. So it's just like I said, there's no comprehensive way, but there are options of radio communications, and the radio services that are out there and available are pretty limited. I mean, there's probably more than what I'm going to share with you guys right now, but the few that I'm thinking of are probably your best options, but I'm going to try and narrow it down to the one. And I'm not going to talk about every single thing about all of these, but I'm just going to give you what I think is the best and why I think it's the best. And so CB radio has been around for a long time, but CB is fairly low power, and it requires, for the frequency range that it requires a very large antenna to be able to communicate a fair amount of distance, at least locally. So CB is a good option for a lot of things, like off-roading groups and stuff like that is probably fine. Or they have added FM to the CB band now. I haven't really tried that out, but it still doesn't change the fact that you need a large antenna. Even if CB FM worked really well, and you were able to communicate through your whole city or whatever fairly easy, not everybody's going to have a big CB antenna on their car or on their house to communicate like that. So CB is kind of out. It's a good option to have because a lot of people are going to have CBs in like a full-on communications, a comprehensive setup. I think that people should have CB radio, and because there's a lot of CBs out there, I think if a long-term grid down situation, CB is going to be a lot more important in the long run. But then there's MERS, multi-use radio service. That is a frequency range just above the 2-meter ham radio band, but you don't need a license for it. So it works really well. But it's limited because it's low power, but they do work to like you can get a mobile station or handheld MERS radio, and they work well two-way communications, but they're low power and they don't really work for long distances, and there's no MERS repeaters out there. So family radio service is something most people are familiar with, but it's very low power and it's just really close proximity communication, so it's kind of out too. It's not bad within a say your small little community or neighborhood even might work. FRS might work. There's no license required for FRS. You can just go buy the radios and start using them. But the one I think is probably the most ideal is going to be GMRS. It's really similar to the 70 centimeter band in ham radio. The performance is really well. Has very good performance. And there are repeaters. You can set up repeaters if there's no repeaters in your area to expand the distance. But ham radio in the comprehensive communications comms setup, like in the worst case scenario, and you want to have full comms of everything, you're going to need ham radio, you're going to need shortwave radio, you're going to need scanners, you're going to need CBs, you're going to need HF transmitters and receivers. So there's a lot to it, a lot more to it, but I'm trying to come from what's the most probable and the most practical for the everyday person. They're not going to probably go and do all that stuff and get a license and start spending all this money and time to try and get a station set up for their whole, comprehensive communication setup. But some will, and you need to make friends with those guys, because when crap goes down, the ham operators are going to have comms, like worldwide comms or extended range comms, like hundreds of miles in their region. It's not just going to be your town or your little city. So I think ham radio is the way to go ultimately, but it's very time consuming and it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of money, a lot of learning, huge learning curve. So what I think people should do to reestablish, if the cell phones are down or in emergency communications, is do something like GMRS to start with. Maybe a handful of people will take that GMRS to the next level, which I think would be jumping into ham radio, getting a tech license and getting started. Maybe get your general license and then you'll be able to use the HF bands. But GMRS, it does take a license, and you have to pay the FCC $35. Thus, they'll send you a call sign. You have to register with the FCC. You get an FRN number first. Use your FRN number, and then submit a application for the GMRS, and it's $35. There's no test or anything like that. You just send it in, you do it, and then I got mine within 24 hours sent back to me. I had my call sign within 24 hours. So it's good for you and your whole family, your immediate family. There's specifics on who can use it and all that stuff. But it's a very good option. There are repeaters. Like in my area, there's 8 repeaters. Some places in our surrounding areas, there's no repeaters. So there's options of setting up a repeater somewhere. Say in a more remote area, you can set up a repeater, battery powered, maybe solar powered. Options are out there. So, but GMRS is very good. I've been using it for a little while now, and I've been listening for a long time. But actually using the GMRS and some of our repeaters in the area, I'm actually very impressed with it. And we have some places we have GMRS repeaters up in similar locations as a few ham repeaters. So it has similar distance capabilities, and the signals are quality. It's UHF signal FM, and it's very good. But so to get started on that, you just get your license, and then you get some radios. And there's a lot of radios out there right now, and there's more coming out all the time. GMRS is just taking off. So, but I think my opinion is get used to it first, get familiar with it, and then buy the better stuff. It should be a progress. I mean, some people would say go ahead and spend the money on the better stuff, which, yeah, I can kind of understand that. But say you have a handful of people you're trying to set communications, give communications for, and you could outfit for the price of the high-end radios, like this one here. This is the Woshin KG935G. It's about $150, but you can buy 3 of the Baofeng UV9Gs that would work just fine for the price of one of these. So and the UV9G is waterproof. It's very durable, very good radio for the price, about $50 a piece. So those are the radios I would recommend anyhow. I would recommend this one, the 935G, and the Baofeng UV9G. But you have to learn how to program the tones in there into the repeaters, for the repeater to access the repeaters. It's really easy. There's not much difficulty to it. There's lots of videos out there on how to get GMRS up and running. But I think that if you're just going to start out, your very first thing, to reestablish communications when cell phones are down, or you're in a situation where you don't have cell phone service, you need to call for help or something, or connect with your family. And these are pretty fun too. It's a good time to use these. You can use them camping, you can use them hiking, fishing, road tripping, traveling, whatever. And they're a lot of fun to use, and get used to them and make it a part, carry it with you all the time. And try and make it a point. I think it's kind of fun to see, like, try out different locations to establish communications. Like, let's do a comms check on a certain location that you frequent, that you're trying to reach a certain repeater. Go around and check the signal reports, with someone at their home or whatever. I mean, just start playing around and seeing what you can do. But there's, like I said, there's so many options out there. You can get into this huge comprehensive plan, which I think is a good idea, because that's my goal. I want to know everything and have everything the best I can to acquire knowledge and information when, say, there's no internet. If there's no internet, a lot of people are going to be freaking out. If there's no cell service, same thing. You want to be able to connect with your family and get back in touch. Then, get some sort of battery backup set up. I mean, I could probably do some videos on those kind of things too, like what I'm going to be doing and whatnot. That's probably a good idea. But like, this short little video is just trying to talk and help you think about where to start. And it's a very difficult subject to cover, and because there's so many things to communications. But GMRS, what it will do is it will let someone get a hold of you, and you be able to get a hold of someone else in emergency, or grid down, or cell phones are down, or out of cell service, something like that, instead of just focusing on maybe scanners. Scanners you're going to be able to listen, and that's good, but you're not going to be able to transmit. Shortwave, same thing. You'll be able to listen, but they're limited and you can't transmit. Ham radio is quite a bit more in depth to get involved in that and get started with that. Plus, the people that you're trying to talk to or are trying to get a hold of you aren't ham radio operators. They don't know what they're doing. excuse me, so they're not going to be able to get a hold of you. So that's why I say try these things out, get a hold of these, start using them, get everybody used to it, and then learn where your repeaters are, talk through the repeaters, talk simplex, radio to radio, see how far you can go, practice good operating skills, so you're not talking out here, you talk up here to the radio in a normal voice instead of out here where nobody can hear you. All kinds of stuff. So you just start practicing with this, and then the more you use it, the more familiar with it you'll be, and you'll know the capabilities, because you'll know ahead of time, most likely, if you're going to go someplace that doesn't have cell phone service, whether these are going to be effective or not. You can set up your own repeater someday, maybe. There's so many different aspects of it that it's a good option. GMRS is really fun, and you can establish some friends and community out there. One of the best, this is kind of something people don't really think about, one of the best things that happened during ham radio nets is stations that are on the fringe of being able to get in. Some people can't hear them, and some people can, so you can relay a message from someone, which is super cool. I think that's really awesome, and it's almost like everybody's there for each other if you have to get a hold of somebody. Like right now, I could pick up my ham radio on my HF, make a call out there, somebody would pick up. I mean, I guarantee it, I could do that. Whatever frequency or band that I get a hold of somebody, give them a phone number or give them some information to contact somebody for me, or the authorities, or emergency service, let them know where I'm at. I carry a ham radio in my car all the time because I go through places that are out of service. GMRS is similar. There's not nearly as many GMRS repeaters out there as there's ham radios. I mean, it's like 10 to 1 maybe. But like where I'm at right now in my location, I can access 2, maybe 3 repeaters fairly good, 2 for sure really well. The third one I might have to go outside or something, just on my HT. That's just on the HT. On my base unit GMRS, I can reach several repeaters. So that's another thing I guess I could talk about real quick without making this too long. But you can have just a handheld on GMRS, 5-watt handheld. You can have a 50-watt mobile, or you can set up a base station with an antenna up on the roof, or on a some sort of antenna mast or whatever. And you can even set up a portable station that you can take with you in case you need to. But there's so many things to it. It's a lot of fun. Radio is pretty fun, but GMRS is my vote for the best SHTF comm service for everybody. But it ultimately, the end goal to me for what I would want, at least somebody in your group, 2 or 3 maybe, a handful, preferably more, to get their ham license to start learning ham radio, because the capabilities are so much more vast than GMRS. I mean, it's just a different world. It's pretty fun too to experiment and learn all that stuff, but for the purpose of taking care of yourself and your family, it's not a bad way to go. And all the other ham radio operators out there, you can count on them too. When emergency stuff happens, there's hams all the time that step in and help out. Even the police and fire, and say during firestorms or ice storms or power outages or whatever, a lot of times it's going to be the hams that step in and have comms set up. But that's the ultimate comprehensive thing to set up your communication station. But I think this is the way to go. It's easy to start. And there's good videos out there on how to get a GMRS license. I don't want to go through that, but I can put a link below to share some videos that they've gone through the painstaking effort to show you guys on the FCC website how to get your FRN number and then how to get your license. They'll send you the license, they'll email it back, you can start using it and buy some radios and start having a good time. So I think what I'm going to do is talk a little bit more about GMRS radios, but what I wanted to accomplish in this video, I don't know if I did, I'm hoping I did, just to my opinion, for everyone to be able to reestablish some sort of a backup communication setup. GMRS is probably the way to go. I think it absolutely is the way to go. But now that we've established that, talk about the radios and kind of how to get set up and you know, using those things in a proper way that you're going to be successful at. So, all right, guys, 20 minutes. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. We'll see you next time.